So what am I saying to you? Well, you've got nothing weird or strange if you're struggling with anxiety. It's very common. It's biblical. It's right there. So what's something you could do to make it better? Well, as a first step, you might want to stop criticizing yourself, and that's why I just went through that whole thing there to tell you that you have something in common with one of the strongest, greatest men of faith in the Bible. From New Life Ministries, this is Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn. I'm Stephen Arterburn. And Going Deeper is all about taking the tough issues, the hard issues of life, looking a little bit deeper inside so that we can gain some insight into our lives. Hi, welcome to Going Deeper. Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for joining me. We're talking about anxiety. When you look back in the Old Testament, you might expect to see some minor players showing some anxious moments in their lives. Maybe so. Like Gideon hiding in a wine press. That's a pretty anxious guy. He was scared to death. But how about the star of the show? How about Abraham, the father of all the fathers? He's the big shot. And we see this guy suffering with anxiety. Let me read you a scripture. Genesis 26:7. When the men of that place asked him about his wife, he said, "She's my sister." For he was afraid to say, "She's my wife." He thought, the men of this place might kill me. Well, in Psalm 56:3 it says, "When I am afraid, I will trust in you, God." Now, Abraham had a very one-on-one direct relationship with God, right? So to think that even with this amazing relationship with God, he was still human. And you could make a case that in his anxiety, he prostituted his wife. He put her into a harem with the king. And fortunately, nothing happened there. What a horrible thing that would do. He didn't learn his lesson. He did that twice. It's really amazing how anxious the father of the Jewish faith was. So what am I saying to you? Well, you've got nothing weird or strange if you're struggling with anxiety. It's very common. It's biblical. It's right there. So what's something you could do to make it better? Well, as a first step, you might want to stop criticizing yourself, and that's why I just went through that whole thing there to tell you that you have something in common with one of the strongest, greatest men of faith in the Bible. So quit criticizing yourself. Quit putting yourself down. It happens. Now, what you might want to also do is get a piece of paper or a journal, preferably, and list the things that you have worried about in the past. Worried that you'd run out of gas on the freeway. Worried that you'd have a heart attack in the middle of a shopping center. All the things that you've worried, been afraid of. Worried you'd catch a disease if you went to the grocery store. So you list all of those things that you thought might come true. You write them down. You worried about them. Then over here, you write, came true, did not come true. And what you're going to find, of course, most of them did not come true. Very few of them will come true. So that helps you to kind of see that what I'm worrying about right now, there's a really good chance that it's never, ever going to happen. And that can kind of ease the anxiety a bit. Now, if you list your present worries, just listing them can be overwhelming because you got so many. But it also could be something that brings a bit of relief to you because you've got them on paper. You don't have to remember them. You don't have to think about to be worried about something. It's all written down there. And then, you compare what you're worried about now with that previous list of what you used to worry about and see how much stuff you're dragging around with you. Now, I can tell you some more things like that, and I will next time. But here's something that I hope you'll really trust me in. There is medication. One of the drugs is Lexapro. There's medication that if you take this medication, it could be the thing that lowers the anxiety enough for you to live an entirely different life, because all of those receptors in your brain are keyed up and ready for anxiety. Here's another thing. A lot of people are anxious about a lot of things, and they've never talked to a person who could be helpful. In fact, when they finally do say to somebody, hey, you ought to not worry about that, that's the response they get back. You ought to not worry about that. Well, that's a horrible response. But you go to see a Christian counselor, and that's not the response you're going to get. You're going to get somebody that cares about you, is going to reach out to you, is going to help you. So of all the things that we can do, lists and everything, you really, if this is causing you to lose jobs or not do well on the job or even confine you to your home, then maybe it's time to look at some medication and get a great Christian counselor who won't say something like, oh, you ought to not worry about that. Okay? All right. Thanks for joining me for Going Deeper. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me for Going Deeper. I hope something I've said may have helped just a little bit. If you have a question you'd like me to answer or comment, just email me at stevesocial@newlife.com. I'll see you next time.
If you want to support Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn, be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. And if you know someone who would benefit from this episode, be sure to share it with them. See you on the next Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries.